So this week's episode of Alderamin on the Sky was a very enjoyable episode, though it did have its issues when it came to the animation department. It was very lackluster a lot of the times, and also the whole confrontation between Ikta and this other general, who more or less is the other side's Ikta, I thought was a little underwhelming, but there was a lot of solid content throughout the episode, especially near the ending when everything kind of came to fruition, where we have Ikta's allies questioning his decision to save this tribe, and everything like that was very well done, but it wasn't without its fault. So firstly, let's talk about the intro to the episode and kind of what went down there, because Ikta decides to kind of go head on against the opposing army, because there is a way for them to kind of flank around them. So if they were to wait, they easily could do that. So they decided to go in, head on against it, but they do have this ready. So once they need to fall back, they can just set aflame, the archway that they can kind of get past and stop them from going there. But in doing so, everything was kind of looking grim because, this tribe that Ikta's friend came from is pretty much getting annihilated. Yutori is, kicking ass, taking names. So I do have to say her battle animation was about 50% lackluster, because a lot of the times it was just still images and they would frame, the camera to move slowly to give it the illusion of movement. But a lot of her animation just really was kind of shortcuts, which is to be expected because we are nearing the end of the season, so time restraints are going to be a thing where they have to get this stuff finished, and more than likely next week's, finale, because I think it's only 12 episodes, it might be 13. But, the finale is going to be where all probably the time and energy goes for to kind of give it a grand finale kind of a thing. So it's to be expected if there's going to be shortcuts. But I have to say, even like the medium shots, when we're not even that far away from the cameras, they looked pretty lackluster, especially when, we have all this army, kind of, coming against one another, which they have, repeat, character models. That's to be expected. But their facial expressions, just everything was very, lackluster in detail. And even like Ikta and some of them, like, really, it kind of felt like they were taking a lot of shortcuts, which is a little sad because the series for the most part looks beautiful. I mean, its lighting is phenomenal. The way they shade the characters to give this illusion of a sunset, it's beautiful when it comes to that. But this episode, it was literally 50% solid animation and then 50% lackluster and just kind of, cheap animation, which is a little sad, but it's not a huge issue when it comes to the content because the story and characters definitely made up for it for the most part. I really did enjoy the battle itself where, Ikta decides to go in and save Yutori because he has that, he has flashback to remember that, the left hand, the right hand, they kind of go hand in hand and they have to stick together. And Yutori plans for that. That's why she goes in, because she knows Ikta will follow and protect them and save everyone, but in doing so, he loses like half of his platoon, or this other platoon there, which, is going to have issues later on. And I really did enjoy that, but even before that, we get to see a little internal struggle where Ikta questions his ability. Is he good enough? Is he really going to be the best of his time, or is this other general better than him? And that's interesting. I didn't see something like that coming, and seeing that internal struggle, it gives even more humanity to Ikta. Despite his perfect appearance, we know he's not perfect. He does have issues, like in I think it was like episode 2, we see him cry after he kills those people. Even though he looks like he's a cold-hearted, killer, he has human emotions more than probably most people in the series, just he hides it with a stone-cold face, and when no one's looking, he breaks into his own, shell, breaks out of it. And I really did enjoy that, and seeing him kind of struggle for a minute, thinking, I don't think I'm good enough, and then he snaps back because he knows he has to be that right hand or the left hand, I forget which one he is. But I really did enjoy that. It gives a lot more, humanity to his character, and Ikta, in all honesty, is the best part of the show. If you take Ikta out, it's an alright show, despite the characters themselves being good, but Ikta is such a unique character in terms of how human he is, but also how intelligent he is. It gives a nice dynamic to everything, and you never know what's going to happen with him. That's why I really do enjoy this show so damn much. But of course, when he goes in there, a lot of his, allies are getting killed. He does save Yutori as well as his clan, but it does have that issue afterwards where he gets, confronted. Why the hell did you do this? They were our enemies yesterday. Now they're our allies, and you expect to save their lives versus them. And I enjoyed that a lot, because, your enemies yesterday can easily become your allies today. And the opposite does apply when we get that confrontation when Yutori says, if I had to kill Ikta on orders, I would. But what I would do is I would kill myself in terms of her spirit, crush her soul that she lives, her heart, everything that makes her human, and then she would slit his throat. And I'm just sitting here thinking, holy hell, that's brutal. Because, in all honesty, despite her being the ultimate weapon for her country, I would expect that if she got an order to kill, essentially her best friend and in a lot of ways soulmate, she wouldn't fucking do it. But no, it seems like she 100% would, which it makes sense for a character, but damn, like, watching Ikta, like, just kind of ask, like, how would you do it? Like, how would you kill me if you had to do it? And she says, well, I'd have to kill Yatori. I would have to crush her soul, burn it, disintegrate it, and once that was dead and only the weapon remained, then you would die. And him just saying, like, well, in my final moments, I will just be so sad about how I lost you. And you can even see, I forget her name, but the other female lead there, her crying, and I'm just sitting here like, that's a powerful scene. Like, that was wrote very damn well and gives this sense of just humanity but also dread in this war. And it's just a scene that I haven't seen something like that quite played out in a long time. I really can't even remember the last time I saw a scene quite like this and how it was executed, and I thought it was really damn good, especially coming off of her, screaming about how evil he was for kind of, taking his, long-lost childhood friend's tribe over the others' lives. And I thought that was really damn good. And I thought, that scene in particular makes up for my disappointment when it came to the animation and other things like that, because that was a really damn good, plot point there where, like, we won't see it this season. Like I said, we only have 1 or 2 episodes. I forget exactly. I think we only have 1 left. We won't see that happen, but, down the line, if Madhouse decided to do a second season, which they probably never will, but if they did it, that could be a plot point at some point, and that'd be interesting. Will we see it? Probably not, unless we go read, the light novels, but it's interesting nonetheless. But one major thing in terms of the story I didn't really like is we do get a confrontation between, well, we don't get it direct between Ikta and this other general, but it felt like the battle itself was a little underwhelming because we have 2 brilliant minds, and really in terms of the battle, nothing that interesting happened besides Ikta, flashbanging them, so to speak, with their spirits, and then they burn, the walkway so they can't get around. Like, that's good, but I expected a little more. But I figure next week's episode, the season finale or series finale, depending on what it's going to be, I think that's where we're going to get some crazy shit between the two and who will live and who will die, right? That's going to be interesting. But overall, it's a really good episode. It had its issues with the animation. It had a lot of issues with its animation, though the lighting was still on point. And, that confrontation between the 2 generals, it was a little lackluster. But in terms of everything else in between that, especially with that ending, beautiful. Like, that was really damn good. Like, seriously, that was on point. That might actually be my favorite part to the series so far, is that Yatori and Ikta moment, because that hurt. That actually hurt my soul, I'm not gonna lie. But if you guys watched the episode, let me know what you thought. Like, overall with the episode, were you disappointed in any areas? Did you love certain areas? And how do you feel about that end scene? And do you think if we actually got the chance to see it, would she go through with it? Because in all honesty, I think she would. In all honesty, I think she could kill him. And that's kind of scary in a lot of ways. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, hit that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more content like this and so much more. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.